Kash Patel has been caught once again. Honestly, I didn't think it was possible for him to sink any lower than he already had, but time and again, Kash Patel proves otherwise. His pattern of corruption, criminal behavior, and blatant cover-ups seems to be a daily routine at this point. What makes this situation even more dangerous is that he's now dragging Donald Trump into the mess, and this could have serious consequences for both of them. Today, we're breaking down Kash Patel's latest scandal. But before we dive in, please take a moment to like this video. And if you haven't already, consider subscribing to the channel. It truly helps support the work we do here. Now, before we unpack Kash Patel's newest criminal scheme and explain how he's allegedly siphoning millions of dollars from the public, it's important to revisit the last major incident he was involved in. That context matters. And it starts with his infamous private jet fiasco.
Back in 2023 and 2024, when the current FBI director was working as a podcaster, obsessed with cleaning up the deep state, slashing government spending, he had one specific idea about how to do it.
Chris Wray doesn't need a government-funded G5 jet to go to vacation. Maybe we ground that plane. $15,000 every time it takes off. Just a thought.
Go take their money. Chris Wray doesn't need a private jet.
We're not the guys running around on private jets. And somebody maybe in Congress should ask for how many flights on a private jet Director Comey took, or my predecessor Director Wray took, and how many personal trips they took.
Don't knock it until you try it. That's what I say about private jets. The use of government jets for personal travel by former FBI director was sort of an obsession of Patel's for years. In 2023, Patel called former director Chris Wray a, quote, government gangster for his jet usage, which is why it was surprising to see Patel repost this photo on Sunday of him in his FBI-branded hoodie out on a date with his country singer girlfriend, Alexis Wilkins. Now, Wilkins was performing at a Penn State sporting event on Saturday. And if you're wondering how Kash Patel got there to support her, well, public flight logs show he took a taxpayer-funded government jet. Later that night, that same jet flew from Pennsylvania to Nashville, where Patel's girlfriend lives. Now, I should note, FBI directors are required by law to use government planes for security purposes. It's a point Patel raised in May when Senate Democrats last inquired about his jet usage.
Oh, this is a great point. Do you know why I have to use a private jet? Because Congress made it mandatory.
Okay. In April 5th, well, we didn't make it mandatory that you go to UFC games with Mel Gibson.
Are you telling me I can't go home?
You got to use some judgment here.
I love the logic there. I had to go to the event. So what, I'm supposed to stay there? Well, you don't have to go to every event. Patel's lack of judgment when using a taxpayer-funded plane for private excursions during a government shutdown on the eve of SNAP benefits running out is really just the tip of the iceberg. I mean, we have seen members of the Trump administration taking advantage of government perks, like DHS Secretary Kristi Noem, who spent more than $172 million on private jets. Now The Atlantic is reporting that officials like Stephen Miller, Noem, Secretary of State Marco Rubio, and others are living in homes meant for generals on military bases. They say it's for security reasons, though they already have personal security details. And in the past, those people with those jobs didn't occupy these homes. They all seem to be taking Trump's cues. They can help themselves to the public till.
This isn't just an absurd scandal involving Kash Patel. It's also deeply hypocritical. Before he was even FBI director, Patel publicly claimed there would be no more misuse of private jets, condemning it as wasteful and unacceptable. He talked a lot about ending waste, fraud, and abuse. Remember when MAGA pretended to care about that? Of course, they never truly did. And whatever credibility that talking point once had completely vanished with Donald Trump's pointless $60 million birthday celebration that nobody asked for. But hypocrisy alone isn't the worst part. What makes this even more troubling is that Kash Patel chose to double down and defend this behavior. That decision is especially alarming when you realize that the scandal we're about to discuss follows the exact same pattern, and it's just as corrupt.
And if I was actually abusing it, I would go see every one of her shows. I think I get to like 15%.
Just to clarify, how often has he traveled to see you since January 20th? Oh, gosh. I think with Nashville. You've been in Nashville,
Yeah, I've been to her house a couple times with her family for the holidays and birthdays. I've seen her perform this year, I think 3 times.
Yeah.
Who is this guy? Kash Patel acts like someone handed a child the FBI's budget and told him to run wild. Honestly, it fits. He even looks like he shops in youth medium. He's a tiny, petite little guy, so maybe that explains the behavior. It's like that Home Alone 2 scene when the kid runs up the hotel bill, orders room service nonstop, and treats the place like his personal playground. That's Kash Patel, except instead of a hotel credit card, he's playing with the FBI's multi-billion-dollar budget. And what is he spending it on? Flashy toys to impress his alleged MSAD agent girlfriend. That's what this looks like right now. It's desperate. It's embarrassing. And most importantly, it's costing us real money. This scandal is absurd, and at some point, you'd hope Donald Trump would recognize just how much this guy humiliates him on a daily basis. How could anyone be okay with this? Sure, Trump loves loyalists, people who will follow him no matter what. But sometimes those same blind loyalists end up damaging your legacy. And that's exactly what Kash Patel and Pam Bondi are doing with their clumsy cover-up of the Epstein files. We all know this is what Trump wants, but they've handled it so badly that it may be doing more harm than good. That's why Representative Robert Garcia has stepped up to lead the charge, calling out Kash Patel, Pam Bondi, the DOJ, and the FBI directly. And the clip you're about to see does exactly that.
Well, let's just start by being very clear. The DOJ and the Trump administration completely missed the legal requirement to actually get all of the documents out to the American public. And so right now, they are defying the law. They are defying Congress. They have not met, which is with a very simple standard laid out in the law that was bipartisan. And so they are illegally right now trying to catch up to what Congress mandated for them to do. So it's unacceptable. It needs to be called out. Of course, we've been planning and looking at legal options to continue to push for that release, and that continues. And as far as what they have put out, I mean, it's laughable that this is an administration that claims somehow that they're being transparent when most of what they put out was either A, already public record. So much of the documents, could be as much as half of them, were already in the public record. And what the other pieces that they released were highly redacted. And in some cases, entire documents, not one word was actually left on there for the public to see. So this idea that somehow they are being honest with the public, what clearly is happening is a White House cover-up. They are now trying to cover up the truth. So it's incredibly important that Congress and the American public and the survivors who are really leading this effort stand strong and continue to push for the release of all of the Epstein files.
One of the things that stood out to us was that the DOJ released some photos, then pulled them, then put them back after people started asking questions about it. One included an image of Donald Trump. And then at one point there were hundreds of pages almost completely redacted, as you point out. But then after criticism and pressure, the DOJ reposted some of those documents with fewer redactions. The DOJ says they're just trying to protect the victims or survivors, and it has nothing to do with President Trump. Do you buy that explanation?
Absolutely not. Look, the Oversight Committee early on pointed out we had done, when the first files and the first dump had come out, the very little information and photos that were new, we, of course, documented those immediately. And we noticed pretty quickly that within hours, they began removing some of the documentation, and particularly the one photo that included pictures of Donald Trump. And so we called that out instantly and made it very clear as to why was the DOJ posting photos of Donald Trump and then removing them pretty quickly after. And this idea that we're now supposed to believe what the DOJ and Pam Bondi say, Pam Bondi is the person that said that the files were on her desk months ago. The Trump administration has been saying that they wanted to release the files from day one, and then they went all in to try to stop the release. They have not complied with their oversight subpoena. They tried to stop the law in front of the Congress. And so now we're supposed to just take them at their word that they're trying to do right by the survivors. The survivors have asked the president and the White House for a meeting to communicate them, to sit down and listen to their concerns. And so that's what the White House should be doing if they want to actually protect and support those survivors and those that have been brutalized and abused by Jeffrey Epstein. So what I hope at this moment the American public knows is clearly Donald Trump and the administration are leading a White House cover-up.
We are incredibly fortunate to have a young leader like Robert Garcia, someone who understands what it means to stand and fight. He's built a strong, effective team and has made it clear that he will not tolerate any nonsense from the Trump administration. We stand firmly behind him, and we will continue exposing this cover-up every single day on this show. If you want to support that effort, make sure to hit the subscribe button and leave a like on this video. And if you've stuck with us until the end, drop a blue heart in the comments to show your support. And until next time, I will see you soon.